Hi, I'm Joy Vernon, and we are going to look at the Tarot's 9 and 10 of Cups today. And we're going to kind of explore the symbolism of those two cards. So, of course, there are different ways of looking at a card to determine what does it mean? What information can we get from it? And of course, the first thing that we do is we always look at the image, the illustration. And so here's an example. This is the tarot of the old path. And we've got our 9 of cups here and the 10 of cups next to it. And so starting here with this 9, we've got a man sitting at a table. He's got a chicken leg in one hand and a little cauldron is what they are in this deck, but something that he's drinking from. He has that in the other hand. There's lots of food on the table. There's let's see, you can see the evidence of the rest of the chicken or the turkey or whatever it is. There's some, it looks like some nuts, I think, and several pieces of fruit. And he's a heavy man, and with a real full face and a double chin. And he's got a woman over his shoulder. Her hand is on one shoulder, and she's offering yet another cup. So there's been some drinking going on, is what it looks like here. And he looks comfy. He looks well dressed. He's got a fur collar, so he looks warm and cozy. And so it looks like a card of, I mean, just from the image, there's a lot of a sense of being satisfied, a sense of being able to, have a really nice dinner, get really full, just feel that sense of satiety. The 10 of cups, and again, starting in this deck, we've got the family, we've got the two adults, we've got a child. The child is skipping or hopping or, about to run around and play. There's the green grass, a castle in the background, that waterfall, lots of things that just suggest that there's abundance. And but now we've got the people really engaged in a more intimate. I mean, this is nice because she's got her hand on his shoulder and that kind of stuff. But this could be Falstaff and Mistress Quickly, and they were not the best of buds. And then over here, this couple is much more intimate. They're looking into each other's eyes, and there's just a sense of connection there. The perspective is weird on this card. I think that those two people are kneeling on the ground, and I'm not sure why. So when we compare the two, and this is another way. So we've already found some meaning in each image, and there's a sense of satisfaction and indulgence that we see here. There's the more intimate sense of fulfillment and abundance, as well as the emotional fulfillment, the love and the connection of the family, which isn't quite as apparent in this one, even though there are two people. And so that's one way of looking at the cards to get the meaning. But the next thing we can do is then compare the two cards that are in sequence. We go from the 9 to the 10. And so here we are at a place of satisfaction and contentment, but we haven't really reached this complete sense of fulfillment. And that's basically how I read that 9 versus the 10. Another example, and I think this is a deck that I've gotten quite recently. It is the I think it's called the Wizard's Tarot, but it's the one by Barbara Moore. And you can see here, this is the 9 of Cups, and this man is in a library. His feet are up in the desk. His hands are behind his head. He's leaning back and looking up, and there's the 9 cups are floating in the air, kind of in a little bit of a cloud. Has a little bit of a 7 of Cups feel to it, but definitely that sense of dreaming. And again, and now going into the 10 of Cups, there's a fountain, there's flowing water. We see 2 adults and 2 children. They are looking towards each other. They seem to be approaching each other, coming together at the fountain. It's a beautiful garden. There's a lot of greenery. Again, we get the sense of abundance. The beautiful lotus fountain, adds even a spiritual component to it. And so we definitely go from dreaming, what would I like to happen, to the reality and the fulfillment of that dream. Now, sometimes decks, any deck can go any way it wants with its symbolism, and that imagery will then affect what the card means. Now, to me, there's a certain direction that a suit should go, and there's a certain number of steps that you want to get to. You get to the 9 and you can tell your client, or you can tell for yourself in a reading, it's like, okay, I'm almost there. I'm getting things lined up. I'm starting to find my contentment. I haven't found my 10 of cups yet, though. And so I need to shift. This can also, the 4s and the 9s can be stalling points. And so that's another thing, is that we can stall or hit a plateau when we get to a 9. And so we want to put in that extra energy to get past it, to get to the 10. Now, like I said, different decks can illustrate they can illustrate anything they want, any way they want. But this deck is a cosmic tarot, and this is their 9 of cups. And there's this really beautiful woman and this man leaning over her, and he looks like he's about to kiss her forehead. There's a lot of kind of abundance and overflow to the cups. They look like they have little bubbles on top or something, but at any rate, it does look, it does have that sense of abundance. That, to me, is more of the 10 of cups and not the 9 of cups. Well, that is reinforced when we go to the 10. Now we've got a woman who's alone. And so she is satisfied. Look, these cups definitely are overflowing. These are, those bubbles on the cups kind of say that this is captured. We've captured the energy of this and are holding onto it. This is letting it flow. And there can be reasons for either one of those. So one's not better than the other. It just, sometimes you want it to be this way, sometimes you'd want it to be that way. But the fact that she's alone, she's naked alone, which is, it's like, where'd he go? And she's satisfied, but she's not, she looks a little lonely. And that, to me, that is the perfect image for the 9 of cups. In fact, I have a mind to just cross out 10 here and write 9, and to do the same thing here, cross out 9 and put 10, because maybe draw another cup in there, X one out on this side. Because this to me is a perfect 9 of cups. She has everything she needs. There's a great deal of satisfaction and achievement, but there's a loneliness. There's what else is there? What else could bring me to satisfaction? And it is in my mind, that would be the relationship or the connection with another person. And so we get a different, this series culminates in a different manner than the other 2 series culminates. It goes from having everything to being, I wish I could totally say she is 100% happy on her own, but I don't think she looks like, I have it all now. I've got his alimony coming in every month, and that's where I want to be. She just doesn't look, I don't know what she wants. She does not look fulfilled to me. So That's my comment on that one. So now we can explore, well, what are some other ways of looking at these two cards? Well, first of all, we've got our Astrological Association, and for the 9 of Cups, we've got Jupiter in Pisces, and for the 10 of Cups, we have Mars in Pisces. And so the 9 of Cups, Jupiter rules Pisces. He's the traditional ruler for the sign of Pisces. Jupiter is also one of the benefics and brings out that sense of abundance and having it all. Achievement, generosity is a good word for Jupiter. Jupiter expands anything that it's near. So if it's near cups, which is love and satisfaction and things like that, it'll expand all of that. I think of Pisces as the breadth of the ocean. It is wide and expansive, and you can get lost in it. Scorpio to me is the depth of the ocean, the exploration in the always moving downward to see how deep it goes. Pisces is the breadth of the ocean. Cancer to me is the watery feel of Cancer is more like a lake, more like something that is homey, that it's like, you have more sense of a control over it. Jupiter in Pisces, because it rules Pisces and because it's a good planet, people usually are like, well, that's a pretty good placement. That would be a very positive placement. And I agree with that. But when looking at the tarot card and adding the illustration of the tarot card, sometimes there's too much of a good thing. And I think that's a little bit of the Jupiter and Pisces situation, is that we get the overindulgence. It's like Pisces, I always think of Pisces as becoming one with something, of becoming enmeshed with another person, or there's a spiritual component to Pisces that is a unification, a communion, and so Jupiter in Pisces, when you add this image to it, becomes more of this overindulgence. Jupiter too much, Pisces like totally becoming enmeshed with like what the feast that's on the table, or totally becoming enmeshed with the other person in the relationship. Totally becoming enmeshed with Pisces is often known for addictions, and so Jupiter in Pisces doesn't usually swing towards a negative scale like that, but nevertheless, when we're seeing 9 cups on the table, you could swing towards Jupiter is fueling his addiction. Eden Gray, in her book on the tarot, she calls this the wish card, and people that have never even heard of Eden Gray call it the wish card. Everybody calls it the wish card, and I definitely do not agree with that. I have clients that tell me, they're like, oh, I got the 9 of Cups, I've got I can make a wish, and I'm just like, go ahead, but I'm going to tell you're stuck on a plateau, and you really need to get back to work if you want to get to the 10 of Cups, but wish away if you want to. Now the 10 of Cups is Mars in Pisces, and so Mars rules the water triplicity, plus he rules that decan of Pisces, and so he has a little bit of power here. And the thing about Mars is that he brings his action wherever he goes. He brings that extra effort and puts the extra energy into it. And so Mars kind of kicks Jupiter in the butt. Jupiter just wants to sit and enjoy it and say, I love this, bring me another flagon of beer. I'm having a great time and I don't want to give it up. And Mars is the one that's like, you know what, if we want to get that project done tomorrow, we better stop and go to bed now. Mars is the the putting all that extra energy and saying, I'm not going to just enjoy, I'm going to put that energy forward into creating the outcome that I desire. I'm going to work on creating my wish instead of just sitting back and dreaming about it, which is what what this guy is doing with that Jupiter and Pisces. He's dreaming, he's making his wishes, and he's dreaming, but he's not putting any effort into it. You don't see that at all. These people have put the effort in. They've either, I kind of doubt they've done that much landscaping, but they probably made arrangements perhaps to have all that landscaping done, and and so on and so forth. So then the next thing that we would do to find meaning in these cards is to keep going with, well, what is some other symbolism, and how can we add it in here? And the other thing that we would look at is the idea of qabalah, in which case we're looking at the 9, which would be Yesod, in cups, which is Bria. And then the 10, which is Malkut, in, again, cups, which is Bria. And Bria again, kind of like our guy that's dreaming, Bria is where we imagine and fantasize all the options of what something can be. Absolute, the highest world, the first world, is the world of emanation, of the spark that starts something. Bria is the kind of expansion and growth of that, it's the world of creation, where we create all these ideas, we create this imagination, we create our vision for something. Then we go down to Yetzirah, which is the world of formation, where we narrow it down, we edit it down, we give it form. And then we get down to Asiya, the lowest world, which is the world of manifestation. It's your final product. So Bria, the whole cup suit, is a suit of imagination, of letting the fantasies fly for a while, and really seeing how creative we can get. And then later on in Yetzirah, that's when formation hits. The one way of thinking of it is writing a book, and Bria is just like page after page after page. You don't edit yourself, you just go stream of consciousness, write. And later on in Yetzirah, that's when we're gonna get the red pen out and edit it down and reorganize it, make sure it makes sense, and all that kind of stuff. The Bria stage is just getting all the ideas out and getting them down on paper. And so that's what we've got here. Now, when we move down into Malkut, the 10, the Malkut of one tree is the Keter of the next. And so Malkut in Bria is going to be your Keter of Yetzirah. And that takes the 10 of Cups into the Ace of Swords. And so this is kind of the culmination, the full achievement of the Bria energies and the Bria qualities before you shift into the world of Yetzirah, where you get out those swords and start cutting away at the things that aren't necessary, and cutting them off, removing them, and setting them aside, and really forming what your final product is going to be. You could even see a lot of Yetzirah there in the way the garden has been manicured. That would be an example of that. So, okay, so Malkut in Bria is going to be the full, Malkut is manifestation. It's the full achievement of something. And Bria, the level of creation, but also of imagination, Malkut gives the fullest form to the imaginal image. Okay, I've got my perfect idea. Now I have to take it down into Yetzirah and start measuring and cutting and working out the details of it. And so again, when we want to have that sense of achievement, of a perfect idea, perfect imagination of what we desire, having that sense of not just your own pleasure, but the sense of connection with others. To me, that's really an important part of the 10 of cups. And I don't think that comes through in this 10 of cups. It's too dreamy. She hasn't, I don't think she's gotten yet to the Malkut. I think she's still processing. She's still in Yesod. This is a 9 of cups image, even though it's labeled 10 of cups. And then once you understand the image, go ahead and use your other forms of symbolism to see if they reinforce and support that image, or if they start to make it crumble a little bit, so that you're like, I don't know if it really fits. I don't know if it is exactly what it's supposed to be. So that's the 9 and 10 of cups for you, and a few ideas on how to work with your cards. And I hope that you like this and find it useful, and I hope it gives you some ideas for how to be a better tarot reader. Thanks a lot, and bye.